Hello, everyone. This is Rob Golfi with REMAX, the Golfi team. Welcome to the Golfi Real Estate Show with host Stephanie Vivier.
Rob Golfi, so great to have you back on the show. We missed you last week. Phil did a great job, as always. Really enjoyed our conversation, but that means you and I have a lot to catch up on. So I'm so curious to know what's been happening in your life in real estate in the last week.
Last week I was in Boston. Beautiful city. Gorgeous city, I'm telling you. I just find it never like I've been to Boston before, and it was kind of cold and a little bit rainy. But just being driven around and doing some stuff. I was there at a conference, and it was a co-work space conference because we have different offices throughout the Niagara, Hamilton, and Halton areas, and I attended that. It was a great conference, great speakers. I learned a lot, met new people. It was good. Like I said, you know what? No matter what business you're in, you always got to attend functions and conferences to stay on top of it. And like we have our co-workspace business. It's called Bright Workspace, and we also have our property management business also that we manage properties, and I go to those conferences, plus I go to the real estate conferences. So I'm usually at probably about half a dozen conferences throughout the year. And but it's funny how what you learn from one conference it could be a different aspect of real estate, but you actually pick up little things that does help the real estate business. I mean, knowledge is power, right? And so it was pretty good. I loved the city, and I learned a lot. And we're moving forward.
I love it. Well, it's so interesting that you say that, Rob. I think, that's why you always remain open. Like, I think a lot of people listen to this show even when they're not looking to make a real estate move because they learn so much, whether it be, things in their lives, or maybe they could, talk to their friends about real estate, or in the future if they're ever going to be moving. So I think you could say the same thing about this show.
Yeah, for sure. There's always something good to learn. And you know what? I couldn't believe my obtained knowledge that I have, because when I was talking to different people, they would bring up something, and I said, "Oh yeah, I would bring up history of something, and I'm going, wow, I do retain a lot of knowledge. It's just, I didn't realize how much. You don't realize how much you know until you know when you're talking to people, and people are going, well, how do you know that information? I'm like, I don't know. I read it or I heard it. And for some reason, I obtained it, but never used it until somebody started talking about that subject line. And they're like many people would not know that. Like it's funny. There's little things that I pick up on that would not mean, but it's good information. It could be anything. It could be like how many gallons of water go through a certain whatever sewer or whatever every day in a certain city, and it's like, why would you want to retain that in your head? And it's just it could be any little thing, but I actually pick up on that stuff, and I obtain it, and then for some reason I forget about it until something brings it back. It's all in your subconscious mind, and then all of a sudden it triggers something to remember. So that's how my brain works, with all my ADD, ADHD, and dyslexic and everything else. So, but I something came about it anyways. It's great for conversation. So. But
definitely, I know you always are having a lot of conversation, whether it's real estate or not. So it's great to have that knowledge in your back pocket.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so what are we looking at here? Are we deep into the spring market? Is that what you would categorize where we are right now?
We're deep in the spring market, but not your traditional spring market. It's moving, and houses are selling. We're selling houses, but it is very cautious. People are taking their time. Like sales are down, and home prices, everybody's saying home prices are down. They go up and down 3, 4, 5% and up and down that way. But we hit bottom about 2 years ago, and it's just staying there, and it's not driving the prices down. The only time prices are going down is when somebody needs to sell. They tried selling their house on the market, and they couldn't do it because they were asking too much money, and now they're desperate, and now they'll take anything. That's what's causing a lot of some people selling their houses at a lower price than what they should have gotten. It's just because they chased the market and they hurt themselves by trying to get a high price and which the market wasn't willing to bear. So we're getting a lot of that. There are a lot of power sales happening right now. A lot of people, are deep in debt, and people are renewing their mortgages. So I was just with somebody, and he said his mortgage was, I think, 16 or 1700, including his taxes, and so we worked out the mortgage on his house, and we said, well, it's going to be $1,650 without the taxes. So he's going to be $300 more a month on his mortgage payments with the interest rates. So on a variable, which I told he should go on, which his my mortgage broker, his mortgage broker said, you can get it at 4.35%, and just in case he wants to sell the house and stuff like that, he can get out of it. But yeah, he's going from 2% to 4.35% on his renewal on his mortgage, and he's going to go variable. A lot of things, like people are struggling out there right now with the cost of everything and interest rates, even though they're coming down. But it's just in inventory of real estate's going up, and which means there's deals out there. There's going to be people willing to let go of their house, especially if the competition's fierce. It's a different economic time out there, and it's crazy.
It is for sure. And the interest rates, they had another announcement this past week, and they just left everything as it was. Were you happy with that decision?
You know what? Yeah, yes and no. You know what? I think they're realizing even dropping the rates is not doing anything to the market, and it isn't. It's not doing anything, and so maybe they're going to save it when maybe these tariff things are over with right now. So people are kind of unsure of the future of Canada or even their job or whatever. So they're just kind of sitting and waiting and before they're going to jump in. There's a lot of people out there living in apartments, living in basements of their family, sleeping in the extra bedrooms, and they have the money to put the down payment down, but they're just kind of being cautious and want to make sure that they're pretty secure in buying a house and going from there. And then you got the sellers. The inventory's high, so they're competing against other sellers. If your house has got all the bells and whistles, you'll end up selling fairly fast. If you don't have all that, then you're in competition with a lot of other properties out there for sale, and then it becomes a waiting game or finding the right person that fits the right house. We have this one house, these people, they renovated. They just put lipstick on it, basically painted it, cleaned it up, this and that. The floor plan is terrible. They should have taken maybe one or two walls out, but they didn't. And now they're struggling. Like all the houses in that area, it's beautiful inside, but all the houses in that area are selling for, 800, 850. But he's struggling at $750. And it's just because when they bought it to flip it, they should have bought a different house, or they should have taken some walls out, and I think that would have made a difference. There's a lot of people out there, made a lot of money flipping houses, right, over the years, and they're stuck with this one last one where they're not going to make money, and that's how business is. You buy these houses to flip, you take a risk on that, and if you bought 10 houses in the last 5 years, and one of them is the one that you don't make money on, you're still ahead of the game. But they don't look at it that way. So they struggle in selling it, and then eventually they end up selling it for what the market will take, which is not what they want, but they have to take, and they've probably lost money on that. There's a lot of people that lost money on their houses in the last, especially in the last 18 months, that selling their house because they bought high, and nobody knew that. Nobody, this is how the market's going to be. It's just the way life goes, and some people get hit pretty hard, and it's devastating to the family, devastating financially, and I feel sorry for those people because they probably saved their money, and now they can't afford it, and now they have to let go of the house and also all the money, the equity that they built plus the down payment that they built, and they end up with zero again. So it's like they saved for years and years to buy a house, and they buy in a high market. Now they got to sell it in a low market, and they're back to where they were probably 10 years back. And a lot of people are going through that, and it is frustrating. This, and people are frustrated out there. There's a, it's, I hate to, I'd hate to see people go through that, but that's reality in life and how the market goes.
Yeah, and that's, I guess, where we are right now. One of the reasons that the Bank of Canada gave about keeping interest rates where they were was just the real uncertainty of things coming from the States. We just don't know what's going to happen. We don't know what the announcements will be. We don't know when they're going to come. So there's a lot of uncertainty there. Are you feeling that in the marketplace with consumer confidence?
There is. I mean, it's mixed, right? I do feel the market is going to be like strong probably later in the year. We just got to get this uncertainty, but the market is moving. The people that are buying and selling are the ones that are confident, that are looking for they know their jobs are secure, or they've got a good business or whatever, and they're looking at buying a house, but they're being cautious in the price point in the houses. They want to make sure that they can afford it. If they can afford it at this interest rate, they'll be good, and because it may go down a little more down the road, and if they lock in, they'll be fine. And lock in. If you can get a good interest rate, lock in for 5 years, and you'll be fine. And and then you'll build up some equity. You pay down some equity, and hopefully the interest rates are decent in 5 years when you guys renew. But I probably go variable now and then lock in. See, because it's going to go down in the more. So I would go variable on the interest rate when your renewal comes in, and then when you feel comfortable, lock in at probably at a lower rate when it happens.
Robin, this is something you've talked about on the show before, but Toronto and the Hamilton area, the new condo market is in the slowest quarter that it has been in the last 30 years. That's so astounding.
Yeah, it's crazy. And the that condo market, again, is driven by investors. And it is at a historic low. They say the new condominium market has experienced its slowest quarter in 30 years, indicating significant downturn in pre-construction sales. Now, investor hesitancy, rising mortgage costs. So basically, investors that would buy, and usually it was 50 to 60% of the condos when they first go up pre-construction are investors. Now they're not looking at buying anymore. So condos aren't going to be built for a long while until the confidence comes back, and who knows how long that's going to be. So whatever buildings are being built now and finished, they're going to get finished and they're going to get done, and the investors that take possession of them, they will have to deal with the losses or whatever, or just rent them out and just deal with monthly losses on rent, or try to sell them. They're going to lose the money on rent. But you're going to find that you're not going to see too many buildings going up for a long time, and just because the investment's not that good. I never liked it, and all the time, but even it's not even that good now. Just it doesn't cover rent, doesn't cover what the condos are going for. So you're not going to find new buildings going up.
Yeah, we don't have a lot of that here in the Niagara region, but condos certainly have been the answer in the GTA and the Hamilton area, because we want to increase density, right? We want to be able to fit more people in the space that we have and encourage them to not have to use their cars.
Yeah, absolutely. And Niagara will start getting that probably in about 10 years. You're going to start seeing buildings going up. So when that changes, it's going to be 10, 15 years where Niagara is going to start seeing, cranes all over the place, like new buildings going up. And but right now, it's the wave. Like Hamilton is going through. They built a lot of buildings in the last 5 years, and so that was the segment happening in Hamilton. But then it's going to come down the Queen Elizabeth Way, and it's going to happen in Niagara. But I think it's 10, 15 years away before they start building, you start seeing 5, 6 condo buildings going up at the same time in one city.
All right. Well, you're listening to the Golfi Real Estate Show here on News Talk 610 CKTV. Rob Golfi is with us. If you want to find out more about him and his team, you can go to robgolfi.com or just stay here. He's sticking around on the Golfi Real Estate Show here on News Talk 610 CKTV.
I was just worried about not getting enough money for the house.
We get that attracting the highest offer for your home is your top priority. Hey, it's ours too. Our one-of-a-kind marketing system will get you top dollar.
Golfi gets it sold.
Welcome back to the Golfi Real Estate Show here on News Talk 610 CKTV. Rob Golfi is with us today. Rob, we've already been getting into some of the stats, some of the big things happening in the real estate market right now. And we mentioned it briefly in the first part, but I want to dig in a little bit here to that interest rate holding, the interest rate holding this week. And of course, experts leading up to the interest rates announcements, they're always guessing what's going to happen. What is the Bank of Canada going to do? Some said they were going to hold. Some said that they were going to bring it down another quarter of a percentage point. They did hold it after 7 straight consecutive drops. So what now do real estate watchers believe about this 2.75%?
Yeah, so they
staying at.
Yeah, they the interest rate benchmark interest rate at 2.75 after 7 consecutive cuts. So how does that influence buyer or seller confidence in the housing? Now, analysts suggest that while inflation has undershot expectations due to temporary factors, core inflation remains high. And like I do feel that things are going to jump because of the interest rates where they're at now. So investors that have cash, they're jumping in. And I remember a guy last year telling me, he was a small builder. He's very strong financially. And he said, Rob, last year was not the time for guys that have cash to buy land. This year, he said 2025, he says you're going to find, and it is absolutely true. A lot of developers right now, they're paying interest on land, on properties, and it looks like it's going to be a long time. And they're not building, so they got no cash flow coming in. So they're digging deep into their pockets just to keep the properties. And so now they're looking to unload some so that they don't have that cash flow problem in their bank account. Even though the interest rates are dropping, nobody's buying. Especially new development, and nobody's willing to build on spec. A lot of these larger builders, they would just build, like 30 homes without even having any sales, because they knew they would sell them. But now they're not doing that. They're trying to get rid of what they have. If they have homes that they build on spec, they're trying to get that cash flow. If you think about it, large builders, they can have 20 homes out there in 10 different subdivisions. You got 20 homes, that's $1 million a home. That's $20 million that they can retrieve and put in their bank account, so that they don't have that interest rate coming out of their bank accounts. But pre-construction sales for condos in major cities like Toronto and are record low right now. It's going to be like that for a long time. But the interest rates, I feel that we'll probably get another quarter drop maybe next month, but they just put it on hold right now. Because even we just talked about it in the first segment that nothing will happen, even if they do a drop right now, just because of the uncertainty in the market. Looking ahead, considering the potential further rate cuts and ongoing market adjustments, I do think that this time right now, if you're a buyer, it's safe to buy, and I think you've got the comfort level to, take your time, find what you're looking for, and really hammer out a deal. Now, I do feel that the market's going to spike, whether it's going to be 2026 or 27. And that's when you're going to make your equity build up fast. So right now, it's been 2 years. So I think we're going to be in a 3 to 4 year segment where, you've got, since the middle of 2022 till now, we're in 25 or 2.5 years in. We may be another year to year and a half before things start changing, where market goes up. So if you're a buyer, you're in good shape. You don't have to worry about real estate values jumping high because it's just flatlining right now. And I feel that's going to be like that for a bit, even with the interest rates dropping, just the uncertainty. And yeah, and then that's how you'll build your equity. And but if you can afford it, I would certainly start looking, and you get to pick and choose the dream home that you want instead of buying a house that there's only 2 available. You have to buy one because the market's moving fast. This is now is the time to look and find something that suits your life.
Yeah, it's a bit of a dream scenario, especially if you talk to people who purchased their homes between 2020 and 2022. For those buyers, Rob, you just said, hammer out a good deal. Like, what does that mean, hammer out a good deal? Is there, I guess, a gentlemanly agreement about how much lower of an asking price that we can ask? Is it more about the time until closing? What do you see as a good deal?
You know what? So let's say the house is worth $700,000. Okay, and they're asking $750,000, and sometimes agents, if they're not educated enough, and maybe they put the price at $750,000, and an offer comes in for $700,000, which is the value of that property, they reject it, right? They reject it. So then what happens is that's it. Your first offer is your best offer. That's it. So time goes by, they drop it down to $700,000, but nobody's jumping at it now, because it's been on the market for a long time. So now you get an offer that comes in, and they're going to come in at $670,000, $680,000, maybe $650,000. The homeowner now is going, oh boy, we had an offer for $700,000. Now we're getting something less. So they end up taking it. That's a good deal. That's a good deal, just because of the way the agent did that. Like, everybody wants more money for their house, regardless. Everybody always wants more money. Sometimes that hurts them. They end up getting less money, which they could have got more money if they actually strategically priced it right. But yeah, like I sometimes go in and talk it out with the agent. And if I'm going in with an aggressive offer, I remember the building, one of my main offices that I bought, and it was pretty expensive. They're asking a lot of money, and I went in $500,000 under asking. Now, they were overpriced, but I think I got a good deal, even with the $500,000 under asking price for it. And they took it. I basically said, this is it. I go, if I don't get it, I don't even want to talk to you guys again. I don't want anything to do with it. I am gone and gone. And there was a couple other little conditions and things that had to be dealt with on that offer. I did get it. I've owned the building now for 8 years, 9 years now. And in other buildings, I've gone in, and I try to put terms. There's ways of getting a better price. You just gotta give up one thing to get another thing. But yeah, it's how you strategically put your offer together. In the old days, usually the agent that's bringing in the offer, the agent, he would meet with the agent that's selling it with the sellers there. And he would state his case, say, hey, Mr. Seller, the reason why we're coming in with this is because this, and this, and a lot of times, if the seller liked the agent that was bringing in the offer, there was a little, you could win it. You can, negotiate a little better. But now with, technology, with electronic signatures, nobody meets anybody anymore. Everything's all done through electronic signatures and Zooms and telephone, and nobody meets with anybody anymore, which that face-to-face negotiations really makes a huge difference. And in the old days, which was not that long ago. I mean, we're talking, less than 10 years ago, where you had to meet with clients, but now we just hey, we got an offer. Okay, great, no problem. Send it to me. Let's look at it. Okay, sign here on the electronic signature, and it's over and done with. And so the emotions is not there. So the emotions are there, but it's not there. Like if you want to state your case to get a better deal, it's not there. Like I actually just recently put an offer in Niagara Falls they're selling in Chippewa, the library and the old Chippewa Town Hall in Chippewa. That's been sitting empty for 8 years now. The city of Niagara Falls owns it.
Yeah.
So I went looking at it and I said, oh, the library. I go, that looks like it was nice. 3,300 square feet between 2 floors. So they were looking at somebody that they were more looking at somebody to buy that as the right person versus the right price. But I went in pretty aggressive. There was 2 offers on the library, plus mine was 3. And then I put the offer on the town hall, and I said, listen, I'll buy it all off of you, but I want it for this price, which was pretty aggressive, and I didn't win the bid on the library. Somebody else did, but we'll find out if the conditions go through. And the town hall, they didn't want to sell it that cheap because they didn't want because it was cheap and it would look good for Niagara Falls. They said, oh, Rob Golfi bought it, and they gave it away. But it does need a lot of work, and they'll realize that. That'll sit for sale for a little longer. And I basically put down, say, listen, I'm going to put a cafe in there. I'm going to make it a great thing for people in the community to come and hang out and do stuff in that town hall. But my price was pretty low, so it didn't go through. But that deal's not dead yet. So we'll see what happens in a month or so. Somebody else may pick it up and do the same thing and operate and do something there. But we'll see what happens with that deal in Chippewa. I'll let you know in a couple of weeks.
I'd love to know. Those ones are tough, Rob, because you've, of course, got the city. They have the residents that they have to be accountable to, right? So people are going to ask, oh, why'd you sell it for this little? And then everyone has their opinion on, oh, maybe it didn't need to be fixed up, all that kind of stuff. So those ones are definitely tricky, understandably. But at the same time, I think even like you've pointed out for regular folks, sometimes having it sitting there is just going to be costing money, and maybe you're overvaluing and not understanding the work someone might have to put in. So it's almost like the same principles apply between commercial or those personal purchases.
Well, exactly. So I stated that building on the corner there needs probably, I'd say somewhere between $300,000 to $400,000 in renovation. And so let's say if you buy it for $400,000, you're going to have $800,000 in that building. Is that building going to appraise for $800,000 when you're finished? That's the key thing. And I don't know there if that would. It could be close to $1 million you have all in with the sale and the renovations. Will it be worth that? I don't know if it will be worth that. So that's why, as myself, like an investor going in, I have to look at, after I'm finished and all done, at the end of the day, was it a good investment? I have no problem as an investment at market value if the value's there. But if I got more into it than what the value is, then it's not a good investment, right? So we'll see what happens if that continues. If it's still for sale in the next couple of weeks, and maybe they might come back. They said they can't take my offer, and I said I'd be willing to move on the price, but not that much, So we'll see if they come back to me with that. And
it sounds like you have an interesting plan for the property as well, which I imagine a city would have to consider.
Oh yeah, I would renovate and put that clock to its original format so it looks good, and and make sure it's working so that people, when they drive by, they look at the clock at the top of the tower, top of the building. It's a beautiful building. There's no parking really, so it's very specific whoever buys it. So that's why there's very few people that can buy that. And I tried to, do the sales pitch on that. I put a letter together, and in the offer, I even put down what I would do with the building. Both buildings, I put down what I would do. So I guess my pitch wasn't good enough. So, so we'll see what happens.
That's right. More to come on that story. And we know Rob will keep us updated. Rob Golfi sticking around on the Golfi Real Estate Show. And we're going to talk about some renovations. Actually, a people who were building a brand new home, and things went terribly wrong. You're not going to want to miss this story, and you're not going to want to miss your opportunity to work with the Golfi team. You can do that. Check them out at robgolfi.com. And you can also give them a call anytime. Always willing to take your call and your questions at 905-641-0308. Rob Golfi sticking around here on the Golfi Real Estate Show next here on News Talk 610 CKTB.
I know the importance of hiring the best agents.
I'll take a photo of your house and post it on the World Wide Web.
Next,
Our multi-million dollar marketing system reaches tens of thousands of potential home buyers every day.
go to robgolfi.com and put the best team to work for you.
And welcome back to the Golfi Real Estate Show. I'm Steph Vivier. Rob Golfi is with us today. Rob, I love these conversations. We talk a lot about the market as it is. We talk about some predictions, what we think is going to happen. But I think what I got to tell you, Rob, is I love most of all when you bring me crazy real estate stories like this next one, where this couple was building a house. And, we talk about neighbors and how things can go wrong. It sounds like things went terribly wrong for the people living next to this build.
Wow. So what happened was, I guess this house, these people, they bought this house, they tore down the house, I guess, and dug and, starting to build a new foundation. Well, guess what? The house next door started falling down and falling apart because of its foundation also. So what do you do when your neighbor's doing construction and it affects your house, and now your house is falling apart and falling down? And so that's what happened to this one family in Hamilton, and I think it was Hamilton, and it was pretty crazy. So who covers this? Like, can you imagine? You're living at home, and all of a sudden your house is starting to fall down towards next door, where there's a big hole in the ground. And who's responsible for it? It's pretty sad now. There's a lot of old homes in a lot of old neighborhoods. This can happen anywhere. I don't think it would happen to any houses that are built in the 50s or 60s or even in the 1930s, but it could happen to houses that have stone foundation. Who knows? And so now, who covers that? Well, obviously your insurance company. Hopefully you got insurance, because if you don't have insurance, now you have to sue and chase the other the builder or the homeowner next door that started all this, and chase them for that, which could cost in the tens, hundreds of thousands of dollars just to sue somebody. And a lot of people out there, I'm telling you, don't have homeowners insurance because they have their house paid for, or they have a mortgage, but they just couldn't afford to pay for it. I was talking to my insurance guy. I go, so what's happening? He goes, yeah, a lot of people are canceling insurance, or they're trying to minimize insurance. The insurance is the most important thing you need. But your insurance company would cover you, they get you back up and going. They'll set you up in either a hotel or a rental house, and then you probably have to tear down your house and rebuild new. And
Wow.
yeah, you probably have to rebuild new, or if they can salvage the house, but otherwise the structure of the house has totally been compromised. And so now you got two new houses going up beside each other, but the insurance company would cover you, and then they would chase after the builder or the homeowner next door, and they would get their money back from there because their insurance company may cover them. It's going to be a whole big legal battle between the two insurance companies, or three insurance companies, or even the insurance company of the city allowing this to happen. So they're going to go after the engineers, they're going to go after the city, they're going to go after the builder, they're going to go after the homeowner. The insurance company will attach them to the lawsuit and will go after all of them. So
Yeah, everyone's going to get pulled in on this, but should that be something the city would have known, that the builder would have known? Like, how did this really go wrong here?
I don't think, I just think it's just a fluke, because a lot of houses do get torn down, and people dig and rebuild. And this is kind of a fluky thing, because a lot, it's just, the engineers, I don't know who's at fault here. I think it's just maybe the at fault is the the builder that built the house originally probably didn't do a good job on the foundation, and he's probably dead and long gone because I mean the house is probably so old, but yeah, it is a sad thing. So if you see somebody building a house right next door to you, just pray that your house doesn't crumble because of all the digging and the movement of dirt and everything else like that. Things shift. You know what I mean? Things shift. And these houses, when they're close to each other, they're only 4 feet away from the lot line. It'll affect your house. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, it was in Hamilton. It was 54 Matthew Street, and the city ended up claiming that the house next door was imminently unsafe. So they did have to move out, like you said, and I guess insurance would have had to house them. But I don't even think homeowners would even realize that this would be something that could actually happen.
Yeah, like it's scary. It's scary. Like I don't know. You know what the craziest thing is that in Europe, they build houses on side of mountains from, like, we're talking 500 years ago.
Oh yeah, you see them. They're crazy. They're like when a tree is kind of on a hill or a mountain, and you see how it's like found its way to root into the side.
Yeah,
the houses are kind of like that.
I know, and I don't know how they did that 500 years ago. I mean, on a side of a mountain, like they didn't have. I mean, I guess they had engineers back then at the time, but those houses have survived like everything, and they're still there on the side of a mountain. Like like it's crazy. And so when you see that, and then in Canada, you got a house that's 100 years old, and next door tears down their house and digs for a new foundation, and all of a sudden the house falls apart. It tells you what's going on. The protocol or whatever the engineering or the limitations or whatever it is that you call it to build a house is not too high, I guess. I mean, look at the houses now. I mean, you could hear everything outside. Like, I mean, it's like, the standards are not as high as they used to be, and it's getting cheaper and cheaper with the standards of building houses. So if a house today built, will it be around in 100 years? You have to rebuild that house. I mean, now the 100-year-old houses or 125-year-old houses now, the bricks solid, they're strong. You may have to rewire them because the wiring's different and plumbing and all that kind of stuff, but they're still standing strong. They're still strong, and they'll be there another 100 years. But but now all houses are being built with siding and all that kind of stuff. They're going to blow away.
Yeah, it'll be like the Little Pig story.
Yeah, it's gonna be like it's gonna be like the Wizard of Oz. Like it's gonna be like the Dorothy's house flying away during a hurricane. You got to watch out.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about landlords. I think we've talked about this woman before. She had a whole year battle trying to get some tenants out. She was even homeless, living in her car, trying to get these people out. I guess it's finally over. But what happened to the house?
It's terrible. $100,000 in damage, and there was a video on it, and. So, and this is what I wanted to show is that you have to be careful if you want to get in the rental game. I've been had tenants since I was 20 years old. I got stories that I could tell you that would be like, wow, I would never want to be a landlord. But you have to be tough. And I learned over the years, and now we do have our own property management company. And if you're a new want to buy and invest in real estate and buy a house or a duplex or a 10-plex or whatever, hire a property management, because we do we vent them out. Like we'll do a credit check on these people. We check them out, find out where they work, everything. A lot of these landlords, newbie, mom and pop landlords, they're, the person comes in and they smell good, they look good, and they pay first and last month's rent, and that's all you're going to get. And you got to be very, very careful on that because these people can cause damage. And I don't even know if the insurance companies will cover the damage a tenant will do. And it's disgusting. They showed the video. They had to have the police go in because they had a sheriff they had finally got the right to take possession of the house from the tenant, and the house was just filled with garbage, dog feces. It was just terrible. I mean, I don't know how they can live that way, but they did, and the damage they did to this house. This house was nice. The damage they did was terrible. Again, real estate is a great investment, but you got to be careful, and otherwise it can cost you more than you think. And I know it's not for everybody, but if you're going to do it, get a property manager, especially get them to rent it out for you, because they know the tricks of all these delinquent tenants. Like a lot of tenants will say, "Oh, I got my credit report. Here it is." Nope, sorry, we're going to do a new one on you. We won't take anybody's credit report. We won't even take another real estate agent's credit report. We do our own credit report. And then a lot of times we want to know where they're working. We don't call the numbers that they have on their application. We will look it up, because we don't want somebody to leave a phone number and it's their friend's house. Remember on Seinfeld, George Costanza, Vandelay Bay or whatever. He's running to Jerry's house and he wants him to answer the phone as Vandelay Bay or whatever it is, and because he was trying to get a job. That's what tenants will do. They will give a number and they'll tell their friend, answer the phone as this, and the landlords will say, okay, yeah, sounds like good. Yeah, he's been working here for 10 years, this and that. Yeah, it's all baloney. It's not true. And you got to be very, very careful on that, and just be careful of scams. There's scams everywhere, and there's always a new one, and you learn every time. But when you deal with a lot of tenants like I have, I know you get to know the scam right away. You don't let it you don't drag it out too long, and you get on top of it right away.
You can smell the BS.
You can smell the BS from a mile away. That's for sure. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. You mentioned the property management. So if we wanted to say we have a property we want to rent out, do we call the property management side of the Golfi team, or do we start with a realtor and then move over to the property management?
You know what? You can call our property management. You can call our office and just say, I want to talk to Rob regarding property management, and we'll get a hold of you right away. You can call 905-641-0308 and just get a hold of us, and we'll contact you. We deal with a lot of like single family homes, duplexes, small apartment buildings, all that kind of stuff through the Hamilton, Halton, Niagara, Brantford region. Believe me, if you have a small building and it's becoming a pain in the butt, trying to take care of it, we will take care of it. We got a 24-hour hotline. Anything that happens after hours, we do have a hotline, and if it's an emergency, we can take care of it. You don't have to worry about changing the smoke detectors. Batteries, we do that. You don't have to worry about any little issues, all that kind of stuff. We take care of that. We got two guys on the road, two guys with vans on the road full time that go around, take care of everything that needs to be done, and we get there faster than even the homeowner would probably do it. Like homeowners will delay. We'll take care of it so that you don't have any landlord-tenant issues. So a tenant can't go to the landlord-tenant board and say, hey, we had a leaky faucet for 6 months. You won't get that. That leaky faucet will be 2-3 days be repaired. Like as soon as we get the call, we're on it, and we take care of it. Any little issues like that.
Important. Yeah, because sometimes when you have good tenants, if you don't take care of those little things, they might leave. You don't want to lose a tenant. That's very expensive too.
It is. And the bad tenants, they'll do anything to not pay rent. They'll find an excuse to not pay rent, and so they lie, and you got to be very, very careful. So, but yeah, give us a call if you got a property that you want us to manage. Don't hesitate to reach out. No obligation. We can send you all our details, and you won't be disappointed.
And the cost's pretty reasonable, Rob. What do you have any idea of about what it would cost people?
Yeah, it's about 6 or 7% of what the rent is. And it's pretty standard in the industry for property management, and we take care of everything. Like we even right now take care of a lot of the people's lawns to make sure that, because people have duplexes, triplexes, who's going to cut the lawn? So we'll take care of that. But yeah, and it's very, very, it makes a huge difference. I'm telling you, if people that manage their own real estate once they have somebody else do it, you'll find that they appreciate it very much so.
Absolutely. Well, we always appreciate your time, Rob. As always, informative and lots of fun. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much also.
And this is the Golfi Real Estate Show. You can go ahead and get a hold of Rob and the #1 REMAX team in Canada at 905-641-0308, online at robgolfi.com. That's Rob, GOLFI.com. You're listening to News Talk 610 CKTB.